Plaintiff Julie Williams says she was a teenager when she gave birth to the defendant, and they went through a lot of tough times together. Julie says she added the defendant to her cell phone plan, but he failed to pay the bill, so she's suing. Defendant James Williams says because his mom had him when she was 16 years old, they grew up more like friends than a mother and son. James insists he paid his portion of the bill and doesn't owe his mother anything.
Start with you.
The defendant, James, is my son. I had James when I was 16 years old. We've spent I grew up with him, you know. It's been a struggle. You see on TV the teen shows about Teen Mom and how glamorous and fun and wonderful it is. It's not. It is such a struggle. So we've been through hard times and we've been through good times. And I've helped James through a lot of things. I've helped him with, you know, growing up as a teenager, getting in trouble, paying fines and things like that. And
what type of trouble would he get in?
A lot of truancy, smoking ticket, you know, simple stuff. He wasn't a bad kid at all. So
Try
yeah.
4 boys in a housing project.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that hard.
Okay, that's hard.
But
You need to talk to my mom when you go to heaven.
right.
She'll tell you what's hard.
So basically, you know, I've helped James out several times and I've done him favors, and I don't ask my kids to pay me back or anything, you know. I got these cell phones for my daughters and he wanted a cell phone, so I got him and his girlfriend a cell phone, and we had a verbal contract that, you know, I would pay for the girls, he would pay for his and his girlfriends. I paid him $40 a month. He paid the phone bill perfectly.
Well, you didn't pay me.
Hold on, sir.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You were. What was the agreement? You were to pay
The
40,
agreement
or you
was-
were to pay all of their bill?
I was to pay $40 for those 2 phones
To
because
him?
that was all of their bill. Yes,
Directly to the
him.
phone company or to him?
I paid directly to James and then made him an authorized user on the account, and then he paid the phone bill directly to AT&T. But they got shut off in September. They were disconnected for a past due balance. In September, it was $778 for a past due bill.
Okay, let's see that. Your final past due bill.
Right here.
Sir, give me some background and tell me what's going on.
I was right. She did have me young. She was 16. Most of our relationships growing up as friends more than a mother and son relationship. There weren't really any ground rules, anything like that. I just went out, did my own thing.
Your own thing like what?
Well, I was a basketball player, so I was out past curfew a lot, and I did smoke a few cigarettes here and there. Did have a truancy ticket, I think.
He sounds terrible.
7th or 8th
Yeah, he
grade.
does.
I don't know.
You should have gotten the electric chair.
I thought so.
Go ahead,
But
sir.
she protected me.
All
I do
right.
love my mom. Family's very important to me.
Good.
The bottom line is when she started these phone lines, there was an AT&T thing. You had a line for $10.99 or whatever that was, and then with my phone it was a little bit higher. I had a fancier phone with fancier internet package. My phone bill was $50 a month. Is what it was supposed to be. There was never any $40 a month given to me.
What was the agreement,
James.
ma'am? What was the agreement between you and your mother?
Me and my mom's agreement was, yeah, I'll put a phone line on there. You just need to be responsible for your part of the bill.
That's it.
That's it.
There was never $40 involved.
I was supposed to pay my part of the phone bill.
Okay. So, did you pay your share of the phone bill?
Yes, I did.
All right. And that
every
was
other line.
$50 a month?
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, you have any evidence? He said his only responsibility was $50 a month. He doesn't know what you're talking about, $40 a month. He said,
Well,
"It had
I gave
nothing
him
to do with that."
$40 a month for the 2 phones that my daughters had.
But he said that we have to start with the agreement. So far, you say the agreement is totally different than he says the agreement is. So now you all have to approve the agreement before we go anywhere.
Okay. The agreement was that I would get the phones. He would pay originally, way back in 2009, he lived with me. He was paying the cable bill and I was paying the phone bill. And that was the very first agreement. And then when he moved out, he took his 2 phones, his and his girlfriend's with him. I paid $40 a month for my daughter's phones, the 2 that my daughters had.
To him?
To him. I paid him $40
And that was the
a month.
agreement?
And that was the agreement. His friend
Would
DJ,
you ever get the bill?
the bill went to his house.
You never received it?
No.
Plaintiff Julie Williams is suing her son, who claims he and Julie grew up more like friends than mother and son because she gave birth to him when she was 16 years old.
Sir?
She initially started receiving bills. I got maybe 3 or 4 bills in the mail.
That's all.
That's about it, yep.
And then it stopped?
Well, I took my phone. I canceled my phone. I stopped my phone.
It was only the last few months before you stopped it that it came to you?
Yes.
And what did you do when it came?
I would go to AT&T and pay it.
Pay all of it?
Yep.
Why, when you only owed $50?
Because in order to keep my phone on, the entire bill had to be paid. I needed
All
a
right,
cell
and why
phone.
did you stop?
Because I found somebody else that added me to their plan instead.
Okay, and why didn't you pay the balance of the bill?
I did pay the balance of the phone bill. And
How
then
much?
I don't know how much. I paid it down to 0, and that would be September of 11. And then her balance ran up until December.
It was 0.
Yes.
You have the bill. September 10th was the last payment that he made, and it's $778 was owing, but his phone didn't get shut off until I disconnected them. All 4 of them, they kept billing for those lines
When was
all the way
that?
till December.
Okay, how do I know who paid what?
I don't know.
No one has receipts? What's the most you paid at any particular point?
I paid $478 in
How?
the month of July in cash at AT&T.
Why? I thought it was his responsibility.
Well, because that was when I first came back from, I was homeless for a while, and I came to stay with him, and he said, Mom, the bills are this high, and I don't have the money to cover it. I had the money to cover it, so I covered it.
She didn't have the money to cover it, Your Honor.
But I paid it, $478.
Hold on, where'd you get the money from?
From my daughter,
Okay.
Which daughter? The one that wasn't paying the phone bill?
Susan.
I'm just
Jeez
saying.
Louise.
I do.
Well, he's saying that because he disagrees.
Well, I
and I'm
realize
trying to
he
find some
disagrees.
reasoning here and logic. And logic says if you were homeless, that 1 month later you wouldn't have 500 to throw around. That's all. That's all. I'm trying to use logic.
My daughter
You-
paid the bill, the $478.
She went down.
She lives with me. I went in and paid with
in
my ID.
cash.
Yes.
All right. You have anything from your daughter indicating that she gave you $478
I
to
don't.
pay?
The only thing I have from my daughter that says that I paid her phone bills for her.
It's just difficult for me to be able to determine who's telling the truth, unless someone has some additional evidence. And it's your burden to prove
I know it's my
that you
burden
paid
of
it.
proof. Yeah.
And if he wasn't paying in many instances, I don't see why you wouldn't keep a record of that.
I guess because he's my son, Your Honor, and I figured that, you know, when the phones got shut off, he called me and told me, he said, I can't pay this bill anymore, the phones are going to be shut off, and
How can I determine who's telling the truth? You give me some advice.
I don't know.
Okay, and
I
you
can't
have the
give you
burden
that
of proving.
advice.
You do know that.
Yes.
And so you haven't given me enough to make a decision in your favor. I'm not saying that you're not telling the truth, but I am saying that you haven't proven it. And that's the burden that you carry, is to prove it. All right, have a good day.
What's going to happen with the relationship?
Nothing.
Well, she better have dinner on the table when I come over next week.
Right. I'll make him dinner and it'll be fine. It just, you know, pay at least part of it. I'm stuck with $1,500 on my credit.
You know, I did pay it for 2 years.